Hi, I'm Coach Corey Wayne. This is my video coaching newsletter, and the topic of today's newsletter is going to be possible reasons why you're not having success with women and how to fix it. Well, this particular email, this guy's been following me he's 26. He's been following me since he was 19, so it's about 7 years. So in those whole 7 years, he's asked out 200 women total. He had 4 dates, didn't get any second dates. And so he recently met a fifth girl, and I guess they played phone tag. He would call her, she wouldn't pick up, and then she would call him back almost like at midnight, like at 10 o'clock at night. And then he didn't pick up, then he calls her back, she calls him back. He asks her out, and she basically tells him how busy she is. And so he's all kind of bummed out about that and upset as to why things are not going well for him. So he's trying to figure it out. And what do you guys do back there? So I got all four dogs in here. Because I got Dad, the Rocket Man's here. Right, Rocket Man? So he's pretty calm. So if you hear some noise, they're like chewing on stuff, licking each other's eye boogers out, which is kind of interesting. So we'll just have to roll with it. Because I know some guys get irritated that we have dogs in, and pretty soon there'll be a baby when we're doing a podcast. People get really upset about that. If you got a problem with puppies and kids and women, probably not the right channel for you. So anyways, this guy, you could tell clearly he's kind of socially awkward. Probably doesn't have much of a social life. And like he said at one point, he got so frustrated he didn't talk to women for 2 years. And it's like, if you don't talk to women for 2 years, that's weird. That's not normal behavior. So it tells me probably he's a little socially stunted. Maybe he grew up spending too much time. His parents would just say, hey, here's an iPad, leave us alone, we're busy, we got things going on, that kind of thing. And so he just didn't, you could just tell he's just not a very outgoing, very social person. And so talking to women is like a big event for him. So if that describes you, if you're a guy that's socially awkward or you're uncomfortable around women or you got some mommy issues, you have got to develop your social skills and your personal skills. That means you got to get out of your house. Maybe take a job waiting tables or tending bar, some kind of retail customer service job where you're just forced to interact with people all day, every day. Learn to strike up conversations, become good at asking questions, taking a sincere, authentic interest in other people. Because like this guy, it's almost like women are like a different alien race to him. And so you can tell he's just not comfortable around them. They're not comfortable around him. And if after 7 years you've only asked out 200 different women, been on 4 dates, that's not a lot. Because as you probably heard me say in the past, the numbers are, if you approach women who at least smile and make eye contact with you, and like when I've done this challenge in the past, I've done videos on it. I don't talk about it very often because this is such a basic thing, because I prefer to be talking about dating and relationship stuff, not a guy, not where people are having a hard time starting conversations. Because if you can't even converse with other people, ask questions, carry a conversation, be good at small talk, it's like that's some of the most basic thing. Because you have to be good at it. If you're going to go and ask for a job or get a job, you got to be able to converse with other human beings, especially women. After 7 years of following me, if you talk to 200 women total in 7 years, that's not really a lot. I mean, when guys have this issue with me, what I typically tell them to do in a phone session is that on a weekly basis, you should be asking out 20 to 25 different women. And so that means you got to go someplace where you can meet that many women. Maybe it's the mall, maybe it's a beer, wine, cheese festival, art festival, just something where there's lots of people having a good time. Now where it's loud, you can't converse. Could be a trade show. So if you go and you spend say 4 or 5 hours on a day in a mall or whatever, you approach, ask out 10, 15 different girls, 10 to 12 different women. That gives you 20, 25 in a weekend. You do that at 4 weeks in a row, there's 100. You do that 2 months in a row, there's 200. So in 7 years, this guy really is asked out 200 women total. He should be out every single weekend interacting with other human beings and trying to develop his personal skills, his social skills. This is something that every guy's got to do. I started when I was, back when I was a kid, we had this little, like one of those little garbage publications that I think it was called the Pompano Shopper, if I'm not mistaken. And so I had like a couple blocks where I would deliver these. You had to put them on like the door handle. They had originally rubber bands, and then they went to plastic bags to protect them. And it was just like advertisements and coupons for the local business, had some stories and stuff like that. And so I did a paper route, but I didn't really have any, it was a free thing that was delivered. They just paid us to deliver them. But when I got into, I think it was like 6th grade, my parents bought a coin laundry that had a wash, dry, fold service. And so they would take me to work, especially my dad. Like on Saturdays, I would always go with them. I'm learning to give change. I'm interacting with customers. If it was spring break or Christmas break or the summer, I was there pretty much every day, 5, 6 days a week with my parents, interacting with other human beings, being forced to do customer service, having to deal with people that are happy or in a good mood, people that are unfriendly, people that are kind of assholes, people with a ton of shit stuck in their underwear. Then you got to tell them, hey, don't bring your undergarments back. We're not going to clean them in the future. Like some morbidly obese people, it's just because they can't get around there to wipe their butts. The poop is on their underwear, and they would bring it in. It's like, as a kid in middle school, you're having to deal with stuff like that. So, and then when I was a senior in high school, after my parents had sold a couple of those businesses, I started working. I got a job at like a fast food chicken place. I worked there for about 3 months. Then I got a job at Service Merchandise where I worked in customer service. All I did all day long was, hey, can I help you? Do you have any questions on this treadmill? Do you have any questions on this exercise bike? Do you have any questions on the rifles or the shotguns or that fishing reel or fishing rod or boat anchors or the toys? It's just like, so I was constantly having to interact with other human beings, all before I basically graduated high school. And then I worked at Service Merchandise till I was 21. When I was 21, I started tending bar, waiting tables, mostly tending bar. And you just got to get in the habit of just asking questions, taking it, because you're there, you're not going anywhere. People are sitting in your bar. You ask them questions. How's your life? You get regulars. They come in there all the time. What are you going to do? You create rapport by asking questions and taking a sincere, authentic interest. Because when you get to know your regular customers on a first name basis, hey, how are you? How's your kids going? What's going on this? What's going on with that? How's that? You know their family, their kids. They all come in there. And they almost become like friends. And because of that level of rapport you have, it creates the conditions where they pay you well, they tip you well, because it's not just some random dude attending bar. It's, say, Corey at the neighborhood bar. I see him several times a week when I go to eat dinner or eat lunch or whatever. He's always there. And so you get to know people like that. And so you have to develop those skills. It's essential. You can't go through life and not do these things. It's not going to work to be a hermit or hide behind your cell phone or the computer all the time. You got to get out of your house and you got to interact with other human beings. And so even before I've gotten into this guy's email, I've read it, but 200 women in 7 years, it's not a lot. When I was in high school, I was going to parties every weekend, especially senior year. And I started when I was old enough to drink. We drank anyways. We had fake IDs. It's like we were out partying every weekend, trying to have a good time, trying to meet people, make friends, meet girls. It's every fucking weekend. Friday night, Saturday night, we're out doing something socially, hanging out with our high school buddies. There's always guys there. There's always girls there. You get to know the girls. They know your first name basis. They come up. They hug you. How you been? Oh, this is my sorority sister. Or we went to college together. It's like we had I could go out on Fridays and Saturday nights and literally see 100 people that I knew. They might not all been close friends. They were mostly acquaintances. But we had a group of places that we would go, and we knew so many people that no matter where I went, it's just me and another buddy or me or 2 or 3 other guy friends. It's like we go out and it was like a party wherever it was. I remember there was this one bar we used to go to. It was called River Rock. For you guys that lived in Fort Lauderdale, you may have known about this place in the early 90s. I'd go there. It was like a high school reunion. There'd be literally hundreds of Gibbons kids there. Well, we weren't kids at that point. We were adults in our 20s. But point being is I would go there. There were so many people I knew. It was just easy to meet and get introduced to other people. And the girls that we knew we went to school with, they had friends that they met outside of school. They got their sorority sisters that came down to visit. They made close friends in college. And so it's like every weekend we were out. It was just, we're constantly social. And then same thing when I was in real estate. It's like we were out every weekend having something fun, or we're having people over to our house, being a stepdad, part-time dad, being a family, dealing with kids, having kids, going to Disney World, myself, 8, 10 other adults, and you got 8 or 10 kids with you. It's, you got to develop your social skills and your ability to interact with other people. Talking to women should not be an unusual event. And if you guys ever watched our live streams with myself and the girls, we're just sitting around having a conversation. It needs to be like that. You have to get to that point where, whether it's a girl or an old lady or an old man or a group of teenagers, you got to be able to talk to people and ask questions and carry a conversation and create rapport with other people. It's an absolutely essential life skill. And especially with the younger guys, they don't get out very much, or they got mommy issues, they weren't very friendly, or they don't have any friends. It's like, you got to get out of your house. Your life is not going to change sitting at home, reading my book 1,000 times, and watching every single video. You got to be interacting with other human beings. And this guy, 7 years, 200 women, he's been out on 4 dates in 7 years. That's just a shitty effort. That's half-assed. That's not really even trying. Maybe he thought he was trying a lot, but I mean, you can do that in a matter of weeks. Like I said, when I do the challenge with guys, is I want you to ask out 100 women a month. So whatever you got to do, Saturday, Sunday, and the weekends, your days off, you got to be at the mall. You got to be at the Wine and Cheese Festival. You got to be at the art show. You got to be at the trade show. If you're into cars, going to the car show. It's like you got to get out and interact with other human beings and do fun things that you love and you enjoy. Because that's where you're going to meet other like-minded people, and you make friends. Those friends introduce you to other people. The friends you make, some of them are married, some of them have girlfriends. They introduce you to women that they know. It's just, you have to do these things. It's essential. Otherwise, you're going to be a hermit. You're going to be weird. You're going to be socially awkward. And you're not going to have much of a social life. You have to be able to get to the point where you develop your skills and your conversational skills to where you can be dropped anywhere in the world. If you're traveling for business, you go to the hotel lobby where the bars and the restaurants are. You sit at the bar, you have a drink. You got to be able to strike up a conversation with a stranger next to you, whether it's a dude or 3 hot women that are all traveling together. You got to be able to carry a conversation. You got to be able to engage other people and converse. You want to raise money for your startup, you have to be able to do that. It's essential. And if you don't, you're really going to struggle, and life is not going to be as fun as it could be with this guy. I mean, he's been following me 7 years and been on 4 dates, and he didn't get any second dates. Well, it's like, that's not really a lot of practice. He should have been on hundreds of dates by now. If you're on dating apps and you're out every weekend, you should have a constant flow of women that you're meeting, that you're dating, and they're in the various levels of what I talk about in the book. By the time I got to where I was in my early 30s, I had thousands and thousands and thousands of interactions. Asked out thousands of women, went on hundreds and hundreds of dates. Most of them never went anywhere. Nothing ever happened with them. And I didn't have the advantage of this book. I didn't have the advantage of the wisdom that was gained from life experience of not only myself, but the other people that I studied and that helped me out a lot. So you got to participate in your own rescue. If you spent 7 years following me and you only got around to asking out 200 women and you went on 4 dates and you're bummed about a 5th girl that you thought liked you and then she tells you she's too busy to go out on a date, that's a scarcity mindset. Your life is not one of abundance. It's like talking to other human beings, interacting with other human beings. It's like a big deal to you. And it shouldn't be. It should just be an everyday occurrence. It should be something that you don't even think about. So with that in mind, let's go through his email. He says, "Hi, Coach. I'm just so fucking lost. I don't know what to do anymore. I'm a 26-year-old guy from Europe. I found your work at 19. You helped me understand women and gain self-respect. At age 22, I started my first job on a railway because of the distance. I had to drive to work and home with a train. I decided I was going to talk with at least one new woman on the train each day to expand my social skills even further." It's nice, one person, but you got to do more than that. You got to get to the point where you can read them. You can tell when they want to talk to you and when they don't want to talk to you. And that only comes with time and repetition and practice. To prepare, I started reading and listening to your book each day until I got to 16 times. I read it 3 times before this. Over the next 2 years, I had started conversations with over 400 women. If I saw reciprocated interest, I asked them out on the spot. If I fucked something up, I always managed to pinpoint the mistake within minutes and fix it on the next one. I asked out 200 women. I was keeping track because I was interested in the statistics, which is great, and you should do that because you'll see that you get better with time. But back to what I was originally saying, my original example, is that if you make it a point twice a week to spend 4 or 5 hours approaching and talking to women, you can get through 10 or 12 different women pretty quickly. So it's easy to get to 20, 25 women that you ask out on a weekly basis if you do that. And in a month, that's 100. And so if you approach and you ask out 100 different women, you're going to get on average 10, 12 dates. And out of those 10 or 12 dates, 3 or 4 of them are going to sleep with you. I've had people all over the world do that in every cultural and spiritual background, and they get the same numbers. The numbers I just said, that's what they are. Doesn't matter whether it's Jamaica or it's downtown London. The numbers are the numbers. And you got to put the time in, and you got to do whatever it takes to get the numbers up. But, this guy, and then so you'll see what he does next. He gets to a certain point, and he gets frustrated, and he's like, "I didn't talk to any women for 2 years." It's like, you can't do that. That is fucking stupid. That is just tapping out and giving up and going, well, it's easy to quit. That's loser think. This is something that perpetually every day you're trying to get better because your life is going by. And so you had 2 whole years where you didn't improve at all. You didn't practice. You're not going to get better. You're not going to progress if you do that. Life requires your participation. You must participate in your own rescue. Don't decide that you're mad and you're upset and pissed off at women that you're not going to talk to them for 2 years. That's ridiculous. They're just giving up and tapping out. He says, "I asked out 200 women. I was keeping track because I was interested in the statistics. Went out only with 4 and no second dates." Well, if these girls are really into you and you didn't get any second dates, then that means you're doing and saying things in the dates that turned them off and they didn't want to see you anymore. Or you were going out with women that weren't even interested in you in the first place and you still couldn't tell. Rejection became like breathing to me. Dude, it's like 200 women. Not really. In 7 years, that's really not much. I mean, that's something you can do in a month or 2 under normal circumstances if you really make the effort. I was never butthurt. Actually, I found it amusing. What I did start having a problem with was my time being wasted. Well, if you're not willing to waste your time, I mean, it's the same thing in business. As an entrepreneur, most of your ideas aren't going to work. Most of your ideas and things you try, all it's going to do is cost you money and waste your time. And that's why most people aren't cut out to be an entrepreneur. Because you got to deal with infinite rejection, having infinite patience, and looking forward to the next permutation that doesn't work out. When I got to the 200th woman, I was having no fun at all talking to them anymore, so I took a break for 2 years. So if you talk to 200 women and you don't like talking to women, that's a you problem. If you don't love women, if you don't love being around them, if you don't enjoy how their minds work, and you're not social, that's just abnormal behavior. Oh, I'm pissed off at women, so at the 200th one, I'm just going to stop and not talk to them because I can't stand them. Or I'm pissed off. I'm frustrated. Like, that's just ridiculous. You should be talking to people every day, everywhere you go. You should be a social person. You just have to be. if you're not, you're just not going to come even close to reaching your full potential in life. He says, and I was happy, extremely happy. Now I got my dream job. I started doing yoga for fun, and I'm even open to dating again. Again, you spent 7 years. It looks like you had a period of time where you applied yourself for a matter of months. You got to 200, decided it wasn't fun, and then you decided you were going to be a mute and not talk to women for 2 years. It's like, that's just ridiculous. I've never seen anybody send me an email saying they basically stopped interacting with women for 2 years. That's ridiculous. 5 days ago, a cute 24-year-old girl started a conversation with me on the train. We weren't sitting together, so I invited her to come to me, and she did. We both have love for dogs. Conversation was fluid. We were joking, and she was even open to touching. You were touching her, she was touching you. What do you mean by that? She tried to change my opinion on something to match hers, but I didn't give in. Well, you shouldn't be focusing on one little thing like that. It's not a contest. It's something that's to have fun with and to be playful with. And I gotta not get uptight. But again, you can just tell he just doesn't have much experience with women. He thinks it's some kind of contest or battle of wills. I told her I would just ask her out on the spot, but I'm not sure if I have any free time these days. So let's just exchange numbers, and I will contact her when I get a new work schedule. Before we went our separate ways, I told her she needed to come to me and say goodbye. So she did and gave me a big hug. I called her 4 days later, but she didn't pick up. She did return the call at 2200 hours, which is 10 p.m. at night, but I didn't answer and thought to myself, who the hell calls someone at this hour? Well, I would have picked the phone up. Why would you look at it if you know it's her and you wanted to talk to her and then you just let it go to voicemail and don't do anything? Today I called her again. She didn't pick up, and then you should leave a message at least. But you didn't. She didn't pick up, but did call me at 20:30, so that'd be 10, I said about 8:30 at night, when I was just finished with my kickboxing training, so I answered and teased her about her weird calling hours. I don't see how that's weird at all. And if it's at night and you had really great rapport, under normal circumstances, like, hey, what are you doing? Let's meet up for a drink. Invite her over. Invite her to meet you at a local wine bar not far from your place. You got to think about these things ahead of time. But again, if talking to women is something that very rarely happens, like I said, it looks like it's within 2 years, this is the only girl he's asked out in the last 2 years because now he's decided he's ready to try again. Again, if you're trying to get better at this is not something you pause for 2 years and then just hide from the world. You're not going to get any better. You're going to get older, but your skills are not going to progress. And remember, success is making progress. So if you don't feel like you're making progress towards your grandest goals and dreams, it's going to be really hard to feel like you're successful. If you don't feel like you're successful, you're not going to be very happy because you don't see any progress in your life. So all that does is give you a shitty attitude, and then women are going to pick up on that. After some small talk, I asked her when she's free to get together, and she said she doesn't have time because she has exams, and after that she's going to go to the sea, so at the earliest we'll see each other in about a month. Now this one fucking broke me. Something in me just snapped, and not because I like her. I don't even know her. One chick, dude, this is ridiculous. You can't get upset for one rejection. It's like you kind of got the loser mentality. As soon as you encounter resistance, oh, it's the end of the world. I got to give up, not try. Life's too hard. Oh, poor me. Mommy didn't give me enough hugs when I was a kid. I told her to contact me when her schedule opens up and wished her well. Now here's what is going to happen. I will never hear from her again. Never in my life has a woman contacted me after I said those words to her. Because you're not saying it to somebody that you have a high level rapport with and you've been out with and who really likes you. Because again, you hardly talked to any women in the 7 years you've been following me. Again, asking out 200 women is something that could have happened in 2 months, not 7 years. That means you've just been avoiding life, probably because, again, you're socially awkward and you're uncomfortable talking to other human beings and making small talk. This should be an everyday occurrence wherever you go, That should be who you are. Even if you've never been an outgoing person, this is something that you should do everywhere you go. An elevator, on the train, at work, standing in line waiting for your food. If you're, say you're getting a sub at a Subway or some kind of sub shop or something like that, takeout order, standing in a line at the grocery store, putting gas in your car, at an event. You've got to be talking to people wherever you go if this is a big problem for you. You're not going to get better just not talking to people. And even if she magically does, my attraction for her will be gone after that amount of time. I won't even know what she looks like anymore. Hey, your attitude's totally sucks. You haven't tried anything for 2 years. One girl asked a little flaky. Maybe you said things on the phone. Maybe you acted a little weird. Maybe your sense of humor was a little off. But you call a girl and then you don't leave a message. And then she calls you back. You don't answer. She doesn't leave you a message. Then you call her again and then you still don't leave a message. It's like, that's weird. That's not normal behavior. That's abnormal behavior. If you wonder why women don't respond well to you, it's like, this is why. Because interacting with women is like a big event for you. It should be something that happens every day. It's like taking a shit every day or taking a piss. It's like breathing. It needs to get to that level where it's talking to a stranger is like breathing. And you're not there. You put pause in your life for 2 years, so you didn't get any better. So my question for you is, what the fuck is going on? Thank you for reading and your guidance. Well, you've just been lazy. You haven't really been trying. It's like, how are you going to get better if you don't even talk to anybody? And to just say, well, I'm not going to talk to women for 2 years, it's like, that's not normal behavior. Avoiding people, avoiding women when you really like women and want to be around them, or developing that shitty attitude, it's the vibe that you're giving off repulses women. It makes them stay away. They're going to have the attitude, there's something off with that guy. He's a little weird. Because under the surface, you're angry, you're frustrated, you're pissed off, you're not loose, you're not easygoing, you're not easy to get along with. Just shooting the shit and having a normal conversation. Again, just watch the live streams with myself and the girls and Chunky. We're just hanging out, having a conversation and interacting with the audience. It shouldn't be a big deal to talk to other human beings like that for you. Until you get there, you got to keep practicing. You got to keep interacting with other people. You got to keep going out and socializing. You got to make friends. You got to hang out with friends. And you meet people in the course of hanging out with friends. It just sounds like you're a hermit. You're socially awkward. You don't have any or many friends at all. It doesn't sound like you even leave your house. I mean, how do you go 2 years without talking to women? That's like that just doesn't make sense. You're not even trying. And so after 2 years, you try with one girl, it doesn't go anywhere, and you're just ready to throw your hands up. You should look forward to the rejection. But you got to get your numbers up. It should be, because this is something that you're behind. You're behind somebody like me when I was your age. When I was your age, I was out every weekend with my best friends, having a good fucking time. I was going out, I was dating, I was having a good time. Actually, at your age, that was when I was getting married. So it's like you're kind of behind the 8 ball, dude. So you need to pull your head out of your ass and take this seriously and participate in your own rescue and get out there and interact with other human beings. They're not going to do it for you. So I'd be on the dating apps if I was you, and I'd be out when you're not working, you should be out interacting with other human beings. And where are a lot of people? Yoga classes, Pilates classes, going to things like that where you're outnumbered by women is what you should be doing constantly. And you go to the same places over and over. You go to the same yoga classes over and over. You go to the same Pilates classes over and over. You get to know people there. You get to know some of the girls there. They're not all going to be single. Some of them are. But even the ones that aren't single, you can strike up a friendship. And then maybe after your class, you all go have some coffee together. And they invite you to tag along. You got to get to the point where that's something that happens all the time. And it's just not. You're probably the weird guy who goes and sits in the back of the yoga class and doesn't talk to anybody. It's like, that's not going to work. You're not going to get better doing that. You got to become the life of the party wherever you go. Take a sincere, authentic interest in other people. Stop focusing on yourself and what you're missing or what's missing from your life, and focus on trying to make people smile. Focus on trying to take a sincere, authentic interest in other human beings and have a good conversation with them. Get to know them. So when they see you, they come up to you and they give you a hug and they're happy to see you. That's what typically happens if you're a warm person. You get to know people and they want to come up and hug you and see how you are and see how you've been. But it sounds like most of the time you approach other people, everybody kind of keeps your distance just because you're giving off the get the fuck away from me vibe. So 200 women in 7 years, that's a terrible effort. You should be doing that in 2 months, especially when you're in a situation you're in where you're trying to get better. You have to force yourself to go interact with other human beings. And even though it's not fun now, you have to do it to the point where the goal is just to get better, to be able to strike up conversations with people anytime, any place, anywhere. Not sit around and wait for somebody to sit next to you in the train and say, okay, well, I'm going to talk to a girl today because somebody sat next to me. And it's not, the only reason you interact with her is because she came over to you. She found you attractive, obviously, but what happened? You talked her out of liking you. So the longer she talked to you, the less interested she became, even though attraction is not a choice. She liked you enough. So that's why you have to have enough interactions with women to get over that, to get past the point where you're constantly talking them out of liking you, because you're still in a weird, socially awkward stage. And the only thing that's going to help you get past it is forcing yourself to do what's unpleasant, which is interact with other people. Which is why maybe you should get a part-time job, tending bar, or waiting tables in a cool place that has a cool vibe, cool atmosphere, cute girls working there, so you can improve your social skills, so you get to the point where it's like breathing for you, because you're just not even there yet. You barely even lifted a finger to help yourself. Again, reading the book 100 times is not going to help you if in 7 years you only ask out 200 women. That's not enough. That's something that should happen in a couple of months. So you got to do better. So if you've got a question or challenge and you want to get my help, go to understandingrelationships.com, click the products tab at the top of your screen on any page of my website, and book a coaching session with yours truly. If you haven't already signed up for our paying exclusive members only content, in the video description of this video, there are links to join on YouTube, or you can join on Spotify, or our website, understandingrelationships.com. Just click the plans tab when you get there. And on the website, you can sign up for a 7-day free trial. And at the end of the 7-day free trial, if you choose an annual plan, you get a 25% discount for paying the whole year's premium up front. So the guy that wrote the email, on Thursday, we do a live stream from 2 to 4 Eastern Standard Time and from 1 to 3 Eastern Standard Time. So if you got specific questions, bring them in a live stream, and myself, Chunky, and the girls will get them answered for you. So until next time, we'll talk to you soon.